How's it going, YouTube? Today, this video is going to be just an overall tour of the controllers that I use and some pros and cons of each. I'll provide some links to them for anybody that might want to look into them for themselves. But we'll just kick it right off here. So, my primary one that I use is this here. This one is built by Ben Heck. Ben Heck Remotes is his website. So the way that this one is set up is, you see my left joystick is down here on the lower right hand side, so I can move it against the arm on my chair, as you'll see primarily in my streams. And I like that because it adds some length overall to the handle, so it makes it really solid in your hand. You get a good grip on it. The other thing he did is this trigger here is my left trigger, so that fits right where your middle finger goes. So this control overall is pretty ergonomic, which I enjoy. We flip over to the front side of the controller, and over here on these two tabs, these are my left bumper as well as my left like L3, so it's clicking in my left stick. He also did move the D-pad closer to the middle, so you can get to it a little bit easier. But that is what will start off the downsides of the remote, is that it's flimsy. A lot of these 3D printed parts, if you're an incredibly casual gamer, might hold up well, but they don't handle consistent use very well. I've had to send these back to get them rebuilt a couple times, just due to them falling apart, really. You can see like it's held together with hot glue here along this seam, and this D-pad is missing its face and everything. So quality, reliability wise, it leaves more to be desired. Some pros of it though, like I said, very ergonomic. I can hold this one all day very well. He recently did redesign them. I have one of those as well, where this whole base is like girthier, so it's a little bit harder to hold, but it's alright. Good thing about it though is these blue screw things here, you can turn them. They adjust the potentiometer so you can clear your own stick drift, so that's really nice. But downside is it gathers a lot more of the dead skin and things than regular remotes do down in all these grooves here. I know it's kind of gross to look at, but it gathers a lot down in there, which leads to just it being gunky overall, and your joystick can get stuck very easily, which is not ideal. So that's what I'm complaining about a lot in my videos when I say, oh, it's because of my remote getting stuck. That's what I mean. My joystick will just drag me whatever direction I push it a lot of times. So now a second one that I like to use is this one here. This one is by Evil Controllers. These are cool because you get a custom build them yourself, and you can make them. Both of these are available for right or left hand, and for Xbox or PlayStation. This one here, I made some modifications to it, well, not modifications, but I ordered it with a little extra couple things done, which is nice. It's got like more tension in its right joystick. Quality wise, this one is top tier. It feels good, it fits good. My only gripe about it is ergonomics, since it doesn't have that extra post off the bottom like the Ben Heck remote does. It's easier to drop around. I have to like press it up against my chest sometimes, or I'll actually wear my prosthetic arm sometimes when I do this, just so I can clamp down on the left hand side. And the reason that needs to be done is because these buttons are a lot more sensitive, and I chose them to be that way. They're more of like they're a simpler click than the Xbox remote, just for faster button presses. Now the problem is, up on front here is my right, or my L3. But then down on this one has 2 buttons down on the backhand side. My left trigger is this top one, and then this bottom one is my left bumper. So if I'm just holding it, like just the weight of the controller alone down to the side pushes the buttons. So that's why I need something to support it on the other side, so I don't have to put pressure on them. But that's just an awkward position for me. One of the really cool things about this remote is the reason there's not that extension that comes off of this from my left joystick is you'll see it actually has this cord that comes out of the bottom of it right here. And what that does is it runs down, and I plug it into this right here. And this is the left joystick. Now, you can motion this to wherever it's easiest for you to control, however that works out for you. For me, since this is paralyzed, I bring this all the way down to the ground, and I move it with my feet. The reason I have it Velcroed to this little thing of plywood here is so I can put pressure on it on one side with one of my feet and then move it with my other one so it doesn't just slide everywhere. Now, that does lead me to the downsides of this, where it can still I don't like using it during like Call of Duty. I hoped I would, but fast reactions or hard reactions, things like that, peel this thing right back up off its Velcro very quickly, which is unfortunate. So I got to use it for slower paced games. It's good on like driving games, things like that. And this thing is not incredibly durable. You see, just pressure alone from the joystick cracked this outer housing. I had to put it back together with some super glue. But this it's a fun remote to use. I could potentially get better with it if I put more time in with it, but I've just gotten so accustomed to the Ben Heck remote over time that, I don't know, I'm a creature of habit, and I'm comfortable with that remote. Then the last one that I very rarely use, I was not nearly as good at it as I hoped to be, is this mouse here. This is a Logitech G600. It's an MMO mouse is what they call them. Now what those do is they've got all these buttons on the side, and you'll see it's got this button right here that as you press it, it changes the colors of these buttons. So you can map those, like let's say this G9 up here, that will be a different map button on all 3 of those settings. So you can map all those to have a whole lot. So you basically have a keyboard on the side of your mouse. Because I've always wanted to try mouse and keyboard. Now, the problem with that is I have a big hand. So these little buttons on the side, even though they're ridged and grooved to give you like an idea of where they're at, my thumb, it has trouble pushing just one at a time. And there's a lot of buttons that go into something like Warzone, so it's harder for me to do that way. But I wanted to give it a try because, everybody says mouse and keyboard's the better control scheme, so I wasn't as good at it as I hoped to be, especially since I never even played mouse and keyboard prior to this. I was not only trying to learn a completely new control scheme, I was trying to learn a harder version of the control scheme, so totally unnecessary. Didn't have to do that to myself, so I don't really ever use it. Now come to where price point's going to fall on these, because I know it's going to be a big question. I believe the Ben Heck remote was around the $350 mark. The Evil controller, this one here, and these ones are fun because you can customize them entirely to your own. I picked this color scheme. I made them all how I liked it. This Xbox main button here glows green when I turn it on. So those are fun, and it did cost me a little bit extra to make the modifications to it that I liked. I want to say that one was hovering around the $500 mark, maybe a little bit north of that. And then the Logitech mouse, I want to say those guys are maybe between $40 and $50. I don't recall. It's been quite a while since I bought that. But yeah, there's an overall tour of what I have, how they work, and any questions that you guys have on that or anything else similar to that. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be game related. I love gaming. That's what started this channel, is my love for it, and showing how I can still stick with it. Through the help of others, of course. There's no way I would have ever been smart enough to figure this out. But it's about my love for gaming, but also I want to be a completely open door, and I'm not embarrassed about this, and it's not a sensitive subject for me. So, I'll tell everybody how it happened here. I was hit by a drunk driver December of 2018. I was riding my motorcycle, and just cleaned me out, spent a week in a coma, and came back. The arm, I still had my arm, but nerve damage up in my neck led it to be an amputation about 10 months down the road. So there's the incredibly condensed version of what it is, but it is what it is. I can get mad, I can be angry, kick holes in my wall, yell everything about it. It's not going to bring my arm back. So, I'm at peace with what it is. It sucks, but nothing I can do about it. So, but yeah, that's kind of my approach to it. So once again, anybody who has any questions about anything regarding that, or especially if you're in this situation, I know that this video is only here because somebody let me know that one of their friends was very recently put into this unfortunate situation. So my heart goes out to you, man. It does. But if there's anything that I can do to help you, or any questions to help you, please let me know. I've been this way for 4.5 years now. Yeah. So, I'm used to it at this point. But yeah, so there's everything that it is for me. And I'm going to post this video here, and